somewhere right now, a forest that should exist does not. The trees that would have filtered your air, stabilized the watershed your city drinks from, and sequestered the carbon already in your lungs never got planted, because human reforestation is brutally slow and ruinously expensive. We have the seeds. We have the land. What we have never had is a workforce that scales. Civilizations have wrestled with this loss for as long as they've had language for it. The oldest story in the Abrahamic tradition begins in a garden, a world of abundance, of canopy and creature, of land that provided. And in that same tradition, God gave humanity dominion over the beasts of the earth. Dominion, not ownership, stewardship, partnership. So the question worth sitting with is, if that authority was granted, why aren't we using it to restore the very landscapes the text describes as sacred? Meanwhile, well-funded environmental organizations are dispatching crews of humans with shovels and grant money to hand-plant saplings one at a time, burning diesel to get there, burning budget to stay, and the trees mostly don't survive. You have to ask, in good conscience, is that actually helping? Or does it just feel like helping? Humans have a track record of doing things that sounded deranged until they didn't. We decided to fall through the sky in metal tubes and called it aviation. We strapped people to controlled explosions and called it space travel. We taught dogs to detect cancer by smell. The gap between absurd and standard practice is usually just time and the willingness to try. Squirrels already bury tens of thousands of seeds and nuts per season. We just need to work with that instinct, giving them the incentives, the training, and the systems to do what they already do, only better. The caching instinct is already there, wired deep into every squirrel that has ever buried a nut. Our job isn't to create the behavior, it's to aim it. The first layer of the stack is selective breeding, favoring individuals who cache in open, degraded ground over dense existing canopy. Generation by generation, that preference sharpens into something you can actually count on. Layer 2 is scent imprinting, exposing juveniles to target species seed compounds during the earliest window of sensory development. Those scent signatures become a kind of compass, pulling the animal toward exactly the seeds the restoration site needs. Layer 3 is scent architecture, embedding those same compounds into the landscape itself, so the environment actively calls the squirrel toward the right locations. Layer 4 is play training, using food rewards during juvenile exploration to reinforce caching depth, and spacing that actually gives seeds a fighting chance. None of these layers works alone, but stacked, they create a feedback loop that tightens with every generation. The squirrel that emerges from this system isn't a trained animal in the circus sense of that word. It's an organism whose instincts have been redirected with surgical precision toward a goal that serves the whole ecosystem. Training one squirrel is a proof of concept. Training a population is an entirely different engineering challenge. The solution isn't more trainers or more time. It's a shared language that every squirrel already knows how to read. Scent is that language. 4 distinct chemical signatures map 4 distinct meanings. Plant here, avoid this ground, follow this corridor. Return to base. Each one is paired during early imprinting with a reward outcome reinforced across hundreds of repetitions. until the signal and the response are basically inseparable. What you end up with is a meaning map that travels with the animal wherever it goes. Now, give that population defined roles. Scout squirrels rid corridor scents and open new terrain. Planter squirrels respond to the plant here signal and get to work. The roles aren't imposed. They're selected for, bred for, and reinforced from birth. The result isn't a trained animal. It's a trained civilization, running on chemical infrastructure that costs almost nothing to maintain. So when you pull back and look at the full system, here is what you actually have. An animal already wired to cache seeds across fragmented terrain. A breeding program that sharpens that instinct toward deeper, farther, and more ecologically useful behavior with every generation. A scent architecture that guides the population without any ongoing human direction. And a training culture that passes itself down, because younger animals learn by watching older ones. This is a restoration workforce that scales with the landscape, gets more effective every year, and largely runs itself. That is not a metaphor for nature doing its thing. That is a deliberate system, built from the inside out, using biology that was already there. We just finally decided to aim it